Before this video begins, I just want to let you know that there's going to be very little graphics on screen. So if you'd like, just go ahead and put me in an alt tab or just leave your phone on and listen to this like you would a normal podcast. I'll just be talking a lot about Switch Sports. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hello, Miis of the world. I'm Crafty Type 1, and in this video, I'll be doing a massive discussion with Twitch chat that's right over here. So if you guys want to be a part of these videos and stream, if you want to be live, go ahead and check out my twitch.tv/CraftyType1. Anyways, let's just get right into it. The future of Switch Sports. Personally, I think it's going to be just as big as Splatoon 2. There's so many similarities to Splatoon 2, that being the customization, the inbuilt brands, and just the online functionality of this game. It looks like it's gonna be pretty big. For example, Wii Sports Resort sold over 3 million copies in the first 6 months of being released. This is definitely attainable with Switch Sports. I definitely see it actually breaking 3 million before the 6-month mark. I don't know what the sales record for Splatoon 2 is, but I know to date right now it's sold over 12 million. And I could definitely see Switch Sports, if it becomes as big as a hit, it could sell almost... I know some of you guys said you think it's going to be like ARMS and it's going to die out. I don't think that's going to happen. I would say it's one of the Wii's bigger properties because it's just Japan is so into exercise, and I know a lot of people want to exercise in the United States, and what's a better way to do that than gamifying it? I do believe there's going to be a Christmas bundle similar to Mario Kart coming this Christmas, and I know some of you guys in chat said the OLED model with the white Joy-Cons plus the Switch Sports, just it fits, guys. It fits. You guys can't tell me that won't work. Hot take: Switch Sports is more mediocre than we haven't even played the game yet. Calm down. On to our next topic, that being achievements and stamps. And you guys are probably like, what? Achievements? Stamps? We actually had confirmation later today. Stamps from Wii Sports Resort are coming to Switch Sports. This is found on the Australian Switch Sports website, and I'm super excited. So I wanted to give this to you guys, chat. What kind of achievements do you think there'll be? Soccer, I'm definitely thinking they're going to get 3-0 or whatever it is. Like, make sure the other team has 0 points. That'll definitely be a stamp. Yeah, on the Australian website, they said something of the sorts of play online matches and play locally to obtain stamps and different achievements. But here's the issue when I say stamps, is because the emotes inside Switch Sports are also called stamps. So they could be talking about the emote stamps or stamps as in achievements. But they said achievements and stamps. So it's racking my head a little bit. Do you think they're also going to be adding Nintendo Switch Online compatibility for the app? That is such a good idea. We'll get to that after we finish this topic. If achievements and stamps are going to be online, what does that mean for online play? Because you're going to get people that are going to be throwing the match or trying to fish for this one achievement. Definitely, it's not going to happen during launch because of the influx of new players. I think later in the game, we might have people fishing for certain achievements, especially if there's some sort of reward behind it, like titles and stuff. I think I've already mentioned titles. We don't know for sure if they're achievement based, but I would be surprised if some of them aren't. For instance, there's a title called 100%, so I'm pretty sure that's if you get all stamps, as in Wii Sports Resort stamps, in a game on all games, stamp servers. Oh yeah, you're gonna have people just in servers like, hey, you want to battle me so we could get our stamps. That's definitely gonna be a big thing, stamp servers. For achievement wise, we're gonna have to see any of the other game modes, because we haven't really seen much other game modes than the second bowling lanes and shootout mode for soccer. I'm pretty sure we're going to get 100-pin bowling. I would be surprised if we didn't. Feels like it'll evolve into Animal Crossing achievement system. There's an achievement system in Animal Crossing? Or are you talking about like the Nook Mile system? That's also another thing. We'll actually transition right now into the rewards and point system. Good comparison to the Nook Miles actually, because it looks like they're taking that approach when it comes to unlocking rewards. It's actually been confirmed in the Japanese trailer that some sports give you more points. And if you guys don't know, points is like, I wouldn't say the currency, but the more points you get from a sport, the more this wheel spins up. If you get 100 points, you get one item. You guys all seen the trailer. You guys all know what I'm talking about. With these points, I assume you could get different rewards like clothing, sports gear, emotes. The system is very weird, especially because when you think of clothing and reward items and such, I think of a shop. I don't think of whatever system, like the Nook Mile system. I think of having a shop and having the shop rotate, and you would collect coins instead of points. It's so weird because it would suck if you want to get this one item, but you have to keep playing and playing and playing. I guess that's how they get you, because you have to keep playing and playing to get this one sports item or unlock other sports. Nah, they're not going to lock any sports behind a point paywall. I mean, they're definitely going to lock some sports behind a normal paywall, just not between like achievement point based. I'm just going to say it. I think there's a currency, and the currency is going to be something different alongside points. Double point weekends. With the similarities between Splatoon 2 and Switch Sports, I think they're going to have their own version of Splatfests. And I think on these Splatfest style weekends, they could have double points, just like you said. I don't think we'll have double point weekends every single time, but I think there's definitely certain sports on certain days will have double points, and those days will change periodically to influence people to go into different sports. If that makes sense. It's basically a loot box system. You collect 100 points and you spend that 100 points to get one random item. And I don't know if I like that, because I'd rather have a shop, or I'd rather have a shop and a loot box item. And I think we are going to have a shop, but I think some items are going to be only in this loot box system. Speaking of items being in that loot box system and or shop, there already has been announced rotations of items in the loading tips on the playtest. We're able to see that there's limited time items that only last 3 weeks. And there's also new items introduced every week. So they tell you to play on weekends to make sure you get every item. You need to play every weekend to get every item. They're going to add more stuff in every Friday, and then you'll have the weekend to play and then the rest of the weekday to play, and then Friday it'll reset again. I think Friday makes the most sense because, for one, the game comes out on Friday. Two, if you play on Friday, everyone could get the items they want on the weekend and then also have the weekday to play and get the other items that they missed. I hate limited time items with a passion. It's FOMO. They want you to play every week, so they're going to have limited time items. It's a smart business strategy, but yes, it's very consumer predatorial. I don't mind it too much because that also means we could get some cool stuff like winter themed items. You know, if there's anything cool going on, like for instance, Sakura season. Sakura seasons in Japan is basically the petals turn pink and they start falling. Very beautiful season, but it only lasts around 1 week. If they're like, oh, for this week, we're having Sakura themed stuff, and I think that'd be super cool. Well, I want to go quickly return back to the Splatfest idea that I had. They could just call them sports fests. You choose a side, and whatever side you get pitted against the other side, and if you keep winning, there'd be, you know, a winner, and the winner gets X amount of points or something. Sports fest would seem like an interesting idea, and I definitely think they might be going that approach because, again, this game looks kind of similar to Splatoon. But I do not think there's going to be any idols or anything. That'd be super weird. Maybe just a news broadcasting system, because we have seen loading screens for other news broadcasts. They can appear on main monitors inside the game itself. Limited time winter items is different from a limited time item. With a limited time item, I'm often busy and they will never be able to get them again. Winter items are often, there's no longer a period of time, plus it builds that type of limited time. Weekly items do not. Yeah, the loading tips did say that limited time items are going to be 3 weeks at a time, which I don't want to say is more than enough time because all of our schedules are different. There's points in times where I don't even play my console for weeks at a time, but I think 3 weeks is a good amount of time to get the majority of items you'd like. But it would suck. Yes, I do not like the idea of limited time items. What I think they'll be doing is, if you think about it, they're adding a bunch of items. If they're adding new items once a week, that's a lot of stuff. So I'm pretty sure they're going to start rehashing old items and putting them back in the shop for people who haven't gotten it. Is it 3 weeks and then there's another limited time item? I don't know. They have one loading tip that says, oh, limited time items appear in the shop once every 3 weeks or something similar. And then there's another loading screen tip that says once every week, new items get added to the shop. So play every weekend so you don't miss any. I believe that's the exact quote. It sounds like some weeks we get smaller items and then maybe at every 3 week interval, we get one massive item. There is a lot of clothing that we still haven't seen and have seen. And for every clothing set, there's also a sports gear tied to it. So if you think about that, for every clothing, they need to make sports gear, and for every sports gear, they make clothing and stuff like that. With the game like this, those items presumably have buffs, say a week early on its release. It's OP and it isn't available later. Do you think that clothing will have buff? I think it's completely cosmetic. We've seen the screen already, the menu screen for clothing. We've seen that they don't have any sort of buffness to them. So I do not think we're going to have buffs for it. But it would be interesting. For instance, if like the sporty type stuff gives you like 5% kick speed in soccer, or the bowling one gives you 5% accuracy in bowling that limits the randomization. The clothing sets and the sports gear, they're definitely tied together. So for every clothing set we get, we're going to get some sports gear items. If there's a dream tennis racket, there's going to be a dream bowling ball, a dream badminton racket, a dream soccer splash, and stuff like that. So we could assume for every clothing set, there's going to be 6 to 7 sports gear. One more thing, there's special clothings. It's called special body types. We don't know how these are unlocked. There's currently 10 in the playtest, and it could just be a random unlockable from the rewards. There's super interesting ones like shark, lollipop, hamburger, and they look like they completely change your model. Or the minute you unlock a set, aka like the ninja set, for instance, it looks like you unlock at least one of the sports gear. I actually want to kind of go into the emotes really quick because we don't know how those are unlocked. Those also could be in rotation. And if those are in rotation inside rewards, there's over 1,500 slots. Sorry, over 160 slots. That would suck if that's in the reward rotation, because that's just filler. That's all filler. To be honest, I would want to get clothing for my sports mate to wear before I get 80 some odd emotes. It honestly just depends on the proportions of clothing to sports gear to emotes. And then I don't even know if titles are going to be in the reward system. I'm telling you, I just want the reward system to be alongside a shop system. And I think with free roaming, that is possible. That is totally possible. But to be honest, I'm really digging the official gear. Like, I don't even know if we change that until I find something super cool. So I think it's a good time to go into free roaming. If there is a shop system, free roaming would be a huge part of that. There's just so much stuff in the files of the playtest to hint to free roaming. If we're a week out from the game and they haven't shown it, then I'll throw in the towel. But I believe we still have 2 weeks for them to show another trailer. How I think this is going to go down is closer to the launch of the game, we'll get another trailer that just shows off free roaming. Free roaming has yet to be confirmed. It has never been confirmed yet. This is all speculation from stuff inside all files data mined from the playtest. Second data leak, I don't think we'll get any other stuff from the playtest just because we have to do another playtest to get more information. So here's the deal. I wish I could throw an image up on screen. I can't on stream, but I'll put one up on the VOD. There is an extra slot. So in the Japanese trailer, it showed 7 options you could choose from. This was also in the playtest. It had the 6 main sports, and to the right, there was a random icon, but above it was just empty. So it looks super weird on the menu side of things, but over here, there was a random one where you just click and it randomly puts you into a sport, and then it just leaves this empty space up here, which makes me think this empty space is gonna be free roaming. It has to be. If there is a free roaming icon that's in the same file folder as these icons over here. If there's a free roam icon, then it's practically confirmed. It might not be a free roam icon. Literally, the file name for the icon is Picto Run. And then for the other ones, there's Picto Bowling, Picto Badminton, Picto Soccer. That could mean anything. There could be a running mode if that's all. Like, we still need to think about this logically. If there is free roaming, how are you going to get into that free roaming mode? Because we know there's a menu. It'll be somewhere in the menu, and there is an open slot. There's a random, and then right above it, there is free roaming. And one thing I actually didn't say inside of my free roaming video, if you haven't watched that, be in the top right corner, is that there's actually a loading screen for a subway, and in the loading tips there talks about transportation, as in a subway and a bus. I did talk about the bus, but the subway I didn't really talk about. After that video was made, we actually found files for a bunch of models that are just standing around. These models were used in the background of a lot of sports, but also could be used in a subway. And then there was a subway loading screen. I've already talked about this all in another video, so I don't really want to go too much into this one, but I'm going to just end off what is the most biggest detail. The textures. There is signed textures for Spocko Square, ATOZ Mall, and an art gallery. If there is free roaming, I'm pretty sure it'll be like a menu. Like, instead of just clicking on soccer, I'm gonna go to the soccer stadium and then we could play there. One thing I do think, this is definitely a dream, but if there's free roaming, I want it to be pseudo multiplayer or multiplayer. If you join a lobby and that lobby is full of people actively running around that are online, I think that'd be super cool. But I don't, that's just too much for Nintendo, I feel like. But I do think pseudo multiplayer, as in what they did in Pokemon Sword and Shield. It had your avatar and your avatar's name, and it vaguely took the route you normally take. If there's currency, I think the currency would mainly be used at the shops, which we have seen, that being the ice cream, sports bar, and cafe. And I just want to talk about those three for a second. The ice cream stand, it can be seen in the badminton area. Frost, this course, is another cafe, and the cafe can also be seen inside the soccer stadium and inside the Chambara stadium. So this cafe, which is called Cafe Buttons, is literally everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if free roaming's a thing and currency's a thing. This is a lot of ifs. Cafe would supply you with like XP up rewards or point up rewards or something like that. Similar to Splatoon 2 Crafty Sean and how that does with ability chunks. I'd love that, but remember how, yeah, that's what I'm saying with like Nintendo doing so bad with online. Here's another thing. When we talk about online, Nintendo actually recently just updated their servers. I believe when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out, the new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is running on the new servers. They're running better servers, and I think the playtest shows how well that could run. So if they're able to handle like 10 people in a lobby just running around, that definitely could be a thing. But I know for a fact Switch Sports has to run on these new servers. I don't know why they wouldn't run it on the old servers. It'd be super weird if they do. But Nintendo's Nintendo. They can do what they want. When it comes to the shops, we have the cafe, sports bar, and ice cream. The sports bar is what I find the most interesting because it, for one, conveys a healthy lifestyle that all these sportsmates are living. Correlation to Splatoon's kind of unparalleled in that sense, where I have a feeling that you could buy a certain drink or buy a certain soup, because it's soup and drink. And I believe soup might be for currency and sports drink might be for points. Something of the sorts if there's two different currencies. Does Mario Kart 8 Deluxe need better servers? Mario Maker Smash needs better servers. Yeah, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is so big. You have over like 5 million active users and over 18 million sold. And like literally everyone who owns a Switch owns Mario Kart Deluxe. So why would you'd want to cater to the majority, not the minority? I'm sorry to say, Mario Maker and Smash to a lesser extent are minority communities when it comes to gaming. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to talk about free roaming. I still think it's coming to Switch Sports despite the gameplay trailer that we saw. And again, my prediction is that we are going to see it around a week or 2 weeks before launch. So that's actually coming up pretty soon. It'll just be another random trailer that they drop, and it's like, oh, here's everything about free roaming to Switch Sports. One other thing they could do is a Switch Sports oriented direct. This is a little far-fetched. Did they ever do a Splatoon oriented direct? I know they did special games, like they did an Animal Crossing one and a Smash Bros oriented direct, but I could definitely see them doing a Splatoon one. I think that's a big possibility. I wanted to quickly talk about what Greninja 21 in chat mentioned, that being an NSO app, because I'm not gonna lie, the NSO app is severely lacking. It has what? Smash Bros, Animal Crossing. They work pretty well for what it is, but they really need to add some more stuff. They need to spice it up a little bit. And I think Switch Sports might be a good opportunity to do that. So you could get like special customization that's in Switch Sports. You could tell you, oh, what events are going on right now, that maybe bowling is 1.2 times more points than usual, or soccer matches are on the rise today, so many other people are playing it. It could be a good use for the app. I don't use NSO for the communication features. I only use NSO for Splatoon basically to get exclusive gear. I want to talk about Miis. They did Miis dirty. I guess they aren't the forefront of Switch Sports, but they are in the game. And I previously said there is less customization for Miis than Sportsmates, but that doesn't look like the fact. It looks like they have the same amount of customization. They started releasing screenshots of Miis alongside Sportsmates, and it looks so unsettling. Miis just look so weird alongside Sportsmates. And I'm not gonna lie, I hated the Sportsmates at first, but I kind of like them now. I'm gonna say it. When I get Switch Sports and play it live on stream, I'm gonna pick a Sportsmate. I'm not gonna pick my Mii. I think they look better, and the only reason why people say they look bad is because they aren't Miis. But seeing the Miis alongside Sportsmates, like side by side, there is literally a screenshot of them winning a soccer match, and you have that little splash screen of the people who won are in the forefront and the people who lost are in the background. They look so weird. They're still unsettling. And hot take, I think a lot of people are going to notice that. Like, yeah, these sports mates look 10 times better. As the game goes on, less and less people are going to be using Miis. There's going to be those Mii stands that are like, we can't use anyone but Miis. Let's fight Nintendo. But I think they're going to cater to the sports mates audience just because they're trying to phase out Miis. Miis were a part of the Wii era. This is a new era for Nintendo. The Switch is a new era. Yes, Miis are great. It's good nostalgia, but I don't think we need it in this game. We had something with the new Mii game remake, but they didn't go anywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna get so many dislikes for this, but like Miis, I love them, I do, but it's like the old Nintendo, the old Wii era. A lot of people are arguing the game lost personality with these sports mates characters, but it kind of doesn't. They still got personality. They still look good. Tell me in chat right now, who is gonna be using a Mii and who's gonna be using sports mate? I'm gonna be using sports mates, but the Miis though, yes, Lilacs. Exactly. See, there's still something for Miis inside of my heart, but I'm going to be using Sportsmate. Yes, I understand it's nostalgia. I played with Miis back when I played the Wii, but I'm going to be using Sportsmates. They honestly look better than Miis. I spent more time playing Tomodachi Life than New Horizons. This is going to be off topic, but I want Tomodachi Life. Like, have Miis be a part of their own game. Have Miis be in the forefront. There's no need to have Miis be in the background. Have it be in the forefront for Miitopia, for Tomodachi Life, and games like that. I have it ingrained in my head. They won a soccer match, and they're all like high-fiving each other, and it looks so weird. Look, it just looks so... They have hands. They have hands. But look how good this looks. I think these characters look good. Can we just talk about customization for a sec? There's no gender, which I think is a good thing. Literally, the key defining features of a person besides their physique is their eyes and their hair. And I think that's all we really need to define a person. I'm not meaning that as a hot take. I'm meaning that as like, we don't need genders to define who we are. And I think, choosing our style should be a better option. And they're doing that with Splatoon, and now they're doing that with Sportsmates. I thought after the new Mii game came out, they were going to update Mii customization and release Tomodachi Life and utilize them more. Miis were riding on Miitopia. And if Miitopia did bad, then they're like, no one likes Miis anymore. Because that's how Nintendo runs. They're just like, they base everything on one game, on one franchise. And if that one game does bad, they're like, well, let's scrap the whole thing. And Miitopia was that game. So there you are now, straying away from Miis. But other than that, I like Miis. I'm just not going to use them. Let's talk about some other sports. I'm going to be doing a whole nother video about this, but we can go ahead and talk about it right now. So far, for as in unreleased sports that aren't going to be in the game when it comes out, we have dodgeball and basketball that are in the files of the playtest. There's also baseball, which coincidentally could and could not happen. The park that is stated in the loading tips and is seen on the menu screen looks eerily similar to a baseball field, and with a simple update they could easily just make that into a baseball field. So I see no reason why they can't do that. For just for the comments that are gonna be typing like, no, they didn't actually announce baseball. I know they didn't announce it. It's not in the files at all. It just looks like a baseball field. Another one that's similar to that is water-based sports. The only reason why I say that, on the top right of the map, you see like a docking area, and then the bottom of the map, you see boats. So we could probably have water polo, maybe even a boating type, boat racing in Switch Sports. What? The weirdest ones I could think of. So I believe in Switch Sports, I think we only had we had two water races. We had kayaking, canoeing. The one I can think of is jogging. This is just coincidentally one of my speculation. This is literally seen nowhere, and I think it'd be tied to free roaming if free roaming's a thing. But we have the leg strap, and we've already seen jogging been used inside Ring Fit, so why can't it be in Switch Sports? But the only reason I think this wouldn't be implemented is just because this is a completely activity-based game. If you have to put the leg strap on and jog, there's no way you're gonna get a lot of people to play that. But you could just use the Joy-Cons and go and then you have to like run, because they did that with biking. Dude, biking could be one. There's a lot of stuff they could do with the leg strap, and I feel like they need to have more leg strap functionality for it to be a good bundle with the game, because right now all it has is soccer. So if they add free roaming with leg strap compatibility, that's another thing right out the gate. And if they add biking, That's another thing. They add running, just plain jogging. I think that works. I mean, those are the other ones I think. I'm just kind of want to go into what Dodgeball might turn into, what it might be. Dodgeball just seems like a cool idea. It is such a Nintendo sport. Like, you think of these games and you're like, that was a sport? Like Frisbee? Yeah, I know it's an actual sport, but like, out of all the games you choose Frisbee? Seems like a really fun game. This seems like a very Nintendo sport without Dodgeball. They could easily make it 3-on-3. You throw a ball, you get hit, you're out. That's it. They can add a dodging mechanic, a roll mechanic. With soccer's motion controls is probably the weirdest of all of them, because you have to like use the joysticks to move, and then to kick the ball, you have to like flick your hands. And I just want button controls for soccer, to be honest. But for Dodgeball, I could totally see that working. You're playing, and then you want to dodge, so you move both of your hands left and your character dodges to the left. That seems like actually good controls, because you could be focusing your movement, your aim with the joysticks, and you need to dodge quickly. So instead of mapping that to a button, just boom. I think Dodgeball seems like the most promising out of all of them. And then basketball, super fun. You got, what is it, 3v3, and then you got the shootout mode and stuff like that. Boxing, I do not think is going to be returning. Boxing is just a very aggressive sport, and that's why they have Chambara or swordplay. I think that's originally why they got rid of boxing in the first place, was because of swordplay. And then swordplay was in place of boxing, and now Chambara is in place of swordplay, even though it's almost the exact same thing. I think we're gonna get special modes. It's actually kind of already confirmed with some data mine stuff and from some actual stuff. For bowling, you have the special bowling lanes, and for soccer, we have the shootout mode. I do not think we are going to get 100-pin bowling. Yes, they are kind of losing personality, but they're trying to be more professional about things. 100-pin bowling, don't think is going to be returning, but I do think training mode is going to be returning. You could just play by yourself. Training mode in the original Wii Sports was you, I think, just practicing certain movements with the Joy-Con. And I think that actually could be returning. It would make the most sense, because it was an actual different mode. It wasn't just you against a computer. But 200-pin bowling, that's what I... Bruh, imagine instead of 100, they add 1,000-pin bowling. That would be crazy. But training mode, I could see definitely being a thing. You have to just practice movements. The only issue is I think I already see like soccer to shootout mode could be seen as a practice mode, but we might get, you know, other practice modes, like maybe add some little Nintendo charm. In boxing, in the original Wii Sports, they threw like bowling balls and stuff and you had to dodge it. But maybe in Switch Sports, in Chambara, you'd have to like maybe like bat kind of, where you have to like practice and you have to guard on some and you have to hit them off the air, kind of like Fruit Ninja is what I'm thinking. Do I think there's going to be a secret button? Probably not. If there's 100-bit bowling, then yes. If there isn't, no. I think there's going to be a minimum of 3 special modes per sport. There has to be. It seems like they're hiding a lot. They're going to be drip feeding us information closer and closer to launch. As of the recording of this video, we are currently around 22 days out from launch. So next week we might get something, and then next week we might get something. Very slow drip feed information. If you haven't already, follow their Twitter. They're releasing a lot of info on bowling and stuff like that. Again, I think free roaming is just going to be a trailer dropped. What is my favorite set for my Sportsmate? So right now we've only seen, what, 6 sets, and right now I'm really liking the Simple Zone set, the wooden sets for the gear. I'm hyped for Switch Sports. I know you guys are too. Overall, I'm super excited. I'll definitely be playing a lot with you guys. But that seems to be everything we know about Switch Sports. If you guys want me to talk about anything else, just comment them down in the description below. And also, if you want to be a part of these discussions live as they happen, just like these lovely people right over here, don't forget to check me out on twitch.tv/craftytype1. That'll be in the description below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Crafty Type 1, and I'll see you sportsmates on the field. Adios.